In today's world, everything is information. We have information in our applications, banking, internet service providers, and whatnot. This information is a great target for malicious actors. When you own a company, your job is to secure that information and all of the user's data in order to avoid malicious actors to use it in a negative way. Penetration testing is the coordinated effort to find and mitigate those vulnerabilities. Companies hire teams of experienced hackers and cybersecurity experts to target their businesses and try to find as much vulnerabilities as they can in a way that other malicious actors could be targeting them and searching for those same vulnerabilities. The goal is to find them in advance, patch them, and also be aware that those vulnerabilities exist. It is often confused red team and penetration testing, and they are related. But red team is more of a mission-based team. For example, when we are conducting a penetration test, the red team has a mission. They have to try and compromise X, Y, Z systems. Risk management is where we identify the potential risks. For example, data integrity, denial of service, confidential information, and we establish how we're going to palliate those risks. And this is done by redacting some documents so the company is always prepared and has their standardizations in place. For example, there's documents such as business continuity plan, disaster recovery plan, data at rest, and basically everything needs to be documented and in place as how we handle information, how we protect against attacks, and how we act in case of a disaster or a data loss or a specific attack. So upon recording the details of the penetration test, these details include, for example, if we are going to act as external or internal users, if we want it to be a stealth operation or we don't care about that, the time frame, the systems, the IPs, the servers, what are we targeting, all of that needs to be documented prior to starting the penetration test. Once that's documented, we are going to try and find as much vulnerability as we can, and we are going to label them by severity. We have our mids, we have our informational, we have our severe, we have our high, we have our criticals, and these findings are labeled, and we also provide a recommendation on how to mitigate those risks or how to patch those bugs or how to act in accordance to the severity of the finding. It is often also provided a proof of concept and step-by-step guide to reproduce the vulnerability or the attack. When we talk about internal or external testing, it is precisely what you can imagine. External testing means try and break the system as any external user would do, and internal testing means you have certain access to a certain technology or certain credentials, or you have some inside information that wouldn't be available to an external user. Some of the terminology that is often used and it is important to be aware of is black box, which is when you don't have any sort of inside information about the system you're trying to penetrate, and basically you use open source information gathering and your own tools to try and find out the technologies and the endpoints, as well as anything you can, you are on your own. Gray box is when you are provided with some of the information. For example, they can tell you, we use such and such technology on the server side, we have this on the back end, we have that on the front end, and that's pretty much what you get, but you don't get all of the available information. That is where white box testing comes into place. White box testing, you have pretty much all of the technology is provided to you. They basically tell you what they use, how they configure stuff, what frameworks they use, and they even provide you the code base so you can actually conduct code audits to find vulnerabilities or insecure code or potential bugs and whatnot. Red team, we've seen what red team is. There's also blue team. Red team is often focused on attacking a system. Blue team is often focused on monitoring and doing audits on a system. Forensics and stuff like that is often conducted by blue teams, which would label them as the defensive side of the cybersecurity team, right? When we conduct a penetration test involving blue team and red team, well, we combine those colors and we get the purple team.